Hey, welcome back to this mini lecture. My name is Dino. It is fantastic to have you back. This one's on remediation. It's digital content remediation to be more specific, and it's a multi-parter. This is part one, and it's going to deal with some of the traits. More specifically, the focus of this video are the concept and various characteristics of remediation, also known as traits. Let's begin, friends. As you've seen in previous videos, there are various forms of content mediation. Specifically, there are three forms: immediacy, hypermediacy, remediation. Again, this is the third of three. We've already spoken about immediacy and hypermediacy. Remediation is next in line. And if you remember the previous videos, and hopefully you remember something from them, these forms are not mutually exclusive. So again, the three forms are immediacy, hypermediacy, and remediation. Again, we're talking about remediation here. I'm going to talk about contrast in terms of the concept of remediation. So remediation, again, is the third type of content mediation. The three forms are not mutually exclusive, again. Immediacy and hypermediacy may include remediation of content. So they're different, but they can sort of intersect and interweave and combine in various ways. Here is, I'm going to talk a little bit about traits. There are various traits, characteristics, and uses of remediation. I'll go through them in this order. This video starts with some of them because it's a relatively long list. It looks like there's about 10 topics here, and I don't want to overwhelm you because I know how that can be when you're watching a video. It's much too long, friends. So I'll talk about adaptation, then reuse, redefinition, competition between content mediums, borrowing, erasure, not the band, improvement, absorption, dialectic, and finally transcendence. And isn't that what we all want to get to, friends? Transcendence. In terms of adaptation and reuse, again, that's a trait of remediation. In terms of remediation, you want to adapt and reuse existing content to fit another medium. That occurs. And some examples of that are films that become television shows, comic books that become video games, and other types of adaptations and reuse. And in a sort of a broader scheme, or a more specific scheme, those two are a little bit broader. These are specific media examples. Netflix specifically remediates television via the internet and movies to some extent. As well, Instagram remediates photos and albums. So what were once television and films are now on Netflix. What were once just general analog photos and albums are now on Instagram and similar types of platforms. Redefinition is another term with respect to remediation. And remediation may include redefinition. This is where the content and media meaning may change between mediums. That's what redefinition is. For example, we talked a little bit before about the remediation, and adaptation and reuse. The Last of Us is a remediation of a video game. So it was a video game that later became a television series. So when you compare the two, the characters might be the same. However, the stories have been refined and tweaked so that the content has been redefined. So it's not exactly the same way as it is before. So I've seen the TV show. I had not played the game, but there are differences between the two. Also, there's borrowing in terms of remediation. That's another concept that intersects with remediation. Remediation may include borrowing. For example, newspapers make online versions that are similar to their print versions, like they're not completely different. For example, if you want to compare or contrast the New York Times, the print edition versus the digital edition, which is here. If you have a copy of the New York Post, you can see a print edition of it. You can contrast that with the way it looks on NewYorkPost.com. Obviously, at the very least, the sort of the look of it is very similar. And obviously, the content's going to be somewhat similar too. Competition in terms of remediation. There can be competition between content mediums related to remediation. For example, you may prefer watching a movie in a theater or on home theater. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer watching shows on an iPad or on television? Do you prefer trying clothes on at a store or through a virtual try-on? So there's competition between these various mediums. Again, that was remediation part one of a multiple part series about traits. Thanks for watching. Take care. Please feel free to like this video. Please feel free to comment, and please feel free to subscribe to this channel if you like this type of content. Take care.